to film you guys a nice yin class today. So you'll need a block. If you don't have a block, not a big deal. But if you do, put it off to the side at the top of your mat for now. And you'll need a blanket. Any kind of blanket will be helpful. If you don't want a blanket, you don't have to have one. But why don't you just go ahead and unfold it across your mat now so you have a bit of a cushiony space. And set yourself up. So for me, like, this is yin, right? So I have my socks on, I don't have my yoga pants on. This is a more comfortable practice. Maybe, well, we're going to get uncomfortable, but your clothing can be a little looser if you'd like it to be. And then we'll start. And each time we get into a posture, I'm going to be telling us a little bit about yin, about the practice, talking to you guys a little bit to keep your mind present and maybe distracted from what you're feeling. So we'll start an easy pose. So sitting up on your mat, crisscross, putting one leg in front of the other, whatever shin falls naturally in front, and then wiggle your feet out to the side of your mat. Flex your feet, take them out wide. Take that block if you have it or if you'd like to in front of you, something to lay your head on. And we'll just take a reclined, easy pose here, letting the forehead rest gently on the block, or just coming towards the floor. And you can decide the height of your block as we move through this practice together. So this height, maybe hotel, maybe motel, deciding where you want your head to be and the mobility in your hips, or maybe heck, you get rid of the block altogether. That's up to you. So just settling into this, and we'll talk about yin and why we practice slowing down here. So needed and necessary, especially in these challenging times, but probably what we're avoiding the most also in these times, right? In vinyasa, in our hot power classes, we resist gravity. We get into these standing postures and we use our body weight and gravity to strengthen, to gain stability in our joints and also more mobility. But in the practice of yin, the other side of that yang, it's the opposite. It's the counterbalance. We allow gravity to simply pull down. So the weight of our body simply serves as the gentle resistance, but one without trying. And we'll stay in these postures a bit longer, a couple of minutes each, so that we can really start to engage the fascia, the system that wraps around our muscles, that holds us in place, kind of like the spaghetti that holds us in our shapes. We're able to find another level of release here. Find your breath. Notice that your mind is probably talking about a lot of things. Give it the breath to count. Slowly return up to your seat, pressing yourself up gently. And we're going to switch the leg that's in front. But first, just unwind, plant your feet. Woo! Wiggle out those knees. Feel the rush and the release. Maybe you had some tingling and your sensation was coming into your legs. And switch so that the opposite leg is in front, out of your default mode here. And then reset, wiggle the feet out wide, let the heart drop through. And if you used a block under your forehead, relocate the block, maybe move it. Notice that one side is different than the other. That's normal and that is okay. You can practice yin any time during the day, throughout the day, but there's a reason we do it with our muscles, quote unquote, cold, without warming up, right? So if you're doing this class early in the morning, it's a great time to practice as our bodies aren't quite warmed up yet. Throughout the day, we warm them. And so we get into that connective tissue, right? Specifically the fascia. And we have 4 kinds. I'm a science teacher. I teach STEM at Richmond Montessori to middle school, and we can nerd out on this stuff if you guys want to message me. But you have 4 kinds of connective tissue in your body. The one that we're touching today is responsible for your shape. And it has its own hydration system, y'all. That is so cool. So that when we get into these shapes, the areas where you feel the sensation, the tingling, the numbness, maybe even perhaps, are the areas where the hydration is being pushed out of this tissue. And then we slowly return to our spaces and come out of these postures after a certain number of minutes. When you feel the rush come back in, maybe a wave of blood or whatever you feel as you move, that's the process of rehydration of the system. And it's not just for today. It keeps rehydrating for 72 hours, guys. So your yin practice goes on, and you get the benefits for a lot longer than the 45 minutes we're going to be on this mat today. See if you can use your breath to drop into a mindful space, maybe a meditative breath, and just observe your body. When you're ready to slowly roll up out of this posture, plant your hands behind you, place those feet back on the mat, ooh, doggy, and maybe wiggle it out from side to side, let it all come back in and flush. And we'll take child's pose just to reset here for a moment. Big toes together to touch, knees as wide as the mat. Press the hips back towards the heels. Let the arms be long over your head. And just breathe. Now, because this is online and I'm not there with you and you know your bodies, you're the only ones in there. If anything I cue doesn't feel right for you, or if you'd like to modify or put a blanket under the knees, whatever you need to do here to be here for a little longer, please listen to your body. What would happen if we always listened to the body when it gave us whispers? It talks to us. We just have to learn to listen. Roll up through your cat back, pull your knees back in line, tuck your toes, take a few cat-cows here. Just a couple to reset the spine. Exhaling, pressing your shoulder blades up towards the ceiling into cat. Inhaling, dropping through, lifting the heart and the collarbone for cow. One more time, really dome up, press the mat away, open the back door of your heart towards the ceiling for cat. And then come back into a neutral spine. We're going to come into a puppy pose. If you know puppy is not in your practice, you can also take an active child's pose here and just press your hips back towards your heels that are lifted. Or simply start to walk the hands forward, and we'll take it, since we'll be here for a few breaths longer than normal, we'll take it with the forehead on the mat. If you really have the openness in your heart and your shoulders and you practice puppy a lot and you'd like to come to your chin, feel free. And then we find that edge and we try not to go past it, since we're going to be there a little longer. We'll talk about our edge in a few moments when we get into one of my favorite postures that definitely has an edge pretty quickly. And this part of the sequence that we're going to be moving through for the next 20 minutes or so, it targets the upper body and the muscles that we tend to overwork as yogis, as practitioners. So here, dropping into Ujjayi, say you have your ocean breath. Use your breath to help soothe. When you've had enough, press back up. One more time, child's pose. Wrap the arms around towards your heels. Leave your knees wide. Or option 2, bring the knees in, lay your heart down. Turn yourself into a nice little rock. Settle the head and the forehead down. Release the arms. Ground and find your breath. Any open mouth exhale will release some of that heat. Maybe you rock your head from side to side on the mat here, or even get into the temples. I know I'm a teeth grinder. You can find a little release, little self-release if you rock your head from side to side, or just stay very still and breathe. The goal of yoga, we practice the asana, sometimes so physically and with the ego involved, there's nothing wrong with a bit of ego. It helps keep us motivated. Our Manipura is important. But to a certain level, right? So these slower practices, even though we might be avoiding them, might be just the ticket in times like this. When you're ready, roll back up to your table, and I'm going to turn myself sideways. I'm going to even move my blanket so I can face you so you can see, but stay right where you are. And we'll come into a hip opening posture here with an option to frog pose or tadpole. I'm going to show you both. And you can rest a bolster under your body or a pillow. If it's too much, you can lay it lengthwise down under your torso. That's always an option. Also grab your block and have it close by, just in case. So tadpole, just the knees come out a little wider than child's pose and you flatten yourself down like a pancake. Or grab your block. There's mine. And if frog is an option for you, lift yourself just enough so that you can take and flex. Make sure you flex those feet. Keep them in line with your knees. It's important your knees are open. And find your frog here, taking the blanket as wide as you want to get a little more support and some cushion under your knees and your body. And then just let yourself settle in. So here we definitely discover our edge. And you hear that a lot in yin, find your edge, or in yoga. But what does that mean? What does it mean in yin? So discomfort is found pretty purposefully here, guys. Not pain, just go to your first edge. It's like a guiding principle of yin. It's a constant back and forth, right? So find where you're having to deeply breathe and soothe with your ujjayi. Make sure it's not too far, back off if it's too much. There's a degree of letting go and surrendering, and then balancing that back with physically, where is your edge? And the back and forth there, that's where we find the present moment. That's present over presence, right? It's where yourself is experiencing yourself, right? It's your emotion, instead of conceptually thinking of yourself and being in analysis mode. So see if you can embody your breath in this feeling. And then slowly, I like to roll back through my tadpole, pull my knees back in line when I'm ready. And then, for just a moment, let's release to a Sphinx pose. So bring yourself out long, plant the arms from elbow to fingertip in front of you. Lift your heart, lift your collarbone, use your glutes, engage your glutes to support your lower back. If it's a little too much, you can roll your head from side to side and release. If you're still feeling a little crunchy in that low back, you can take your feet a little wider. Press into your arms and just breathe here. The yoga pose is not the goal. Becoming flexible or standing on your hands is not the goal. The goal of this practice is to create space where you were once stuck. Mentally, physically, emotionally. How do we do that? We use the asanas. We use our breath to be our guide. And we're moving into a shoulder opening sequence. Of course, again, if you have impingement or history of injury there, please do what's safe for you. But we spend a lot of time doing chaturanga and spending a lot of effort and putting some strain and stress on those shoulders, right? On the back body, on your shoulder blades. So we're just gonna, that's my chaturanga move. You see that? So we're just gonna wash that out a little bit here in the next few poses. We're still in Sphinx. Release down from Sphinx. I'm gonna grab my block. Make sure yours is readily available in case you need it. So I like to lovingly call this pose straight jacket pose. We're going to open across the shoulders into the back body here, the top of the back body, the thoracic spine. Don't go past your edge. That was my don't do it if you don't like it. Okay? I'm going to choose the highest height of the block, or you can choose motel, hotel, motel, holiday, in your choice. Thread one of your arms through, like thread the needle, lay down on it. Forehead can rest on the block, and your other arm, your left arm, can just stay grounded here. You can lay it down over your head. One shoulder could be fine, or if you'd like, straight jacket arms. Thread the left arm in front of the right. Reach really long. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, lower your head to the forehead or to the block. One extra level, you can flip the palms over and press your palms into the ground. Just notice what that does and how that changes across your shoulder blades. And find your breath here and just watch it. Enter into a state of being, not doing. Nothing to do. We're just here to breathe and to release. And in these yin postures and these longer holds, always know you can back off. If you've gone past your edge, do what's right and listen to your body. It's okay to change your mind and flip your palms back over or release one of your arms. But then notice, are you doing it because you need to or because you want to? Finding the discomfort on purpose. We are stressing our fascia slightly and purposefully. Not too far, but just enough stress to rehydrate that system when we release. So leaning into the discomfort. Man, that's a metaphor for right now, isn't it? Using your breath to find your way through something uncomfortable. And what you might start to notice is the breath helps you find ease in moments of discomfort and maybe even release. When you're ready to come out of this, slowly wiggle your elbows back towards the edges of your mat to support yourself and lift it back up through Sphinx. I promise we'll open our shoulders, but first we got to do the other side. Okay, I promise. So if you were just doing one arm, straight jacket your left down, find your head on the block, reposition yourself with your shoulders square as much as you'd like and release, or take the right arm in front of the left, switch your default mode, and settle back in. Whew. Find your breath. For many, many years, my body and my mind, all my bodies, continued to push through hot power classes because I love them and it's exactly what I thought I needed. And I avoided practices like this. That's my vata and my fire. Maybe you can relate. But when I find the time, the moments to ease and surrender, especially when I don't want to get on my mat, I never feel worse. I always feel better when I take the time. So thank yourself for taking the time to pause and surrender. Find your breath again. Let it be your meditative release and just watch everything else. Notice what softens, what feels tension. Send big love note breaths into whatever feels sticky. Unveiling layers of protection that you've built up around your heart to appreciate your body and become aware of the mind and the noise it creates. That's its job. But we can say, thank you, mind, for that thought. Please come back to the breath. When you're ready, slowly wiggle those elbows back together. Come back through Sphinx. Move the block out to the side. And we'll do our shoulder openers. Wing out, step over. So, take your left arm out long. Take your left cheek to the mat. Bend your left knee. Take your right knee rather. Take your right fingertips up and roll over your left side body, stepping your right foot behind your left leg to open up that left shoulder. You're going to roll up and over. And this might be enough. You can, if it's too far and too intense, you can bend the bottom knee and pull your left foot closer in. If you'd like a little bit more in the shoulder mobility, you can reach your right hand back towards your left fingers and bind your fingers and open up your heart and your shoulders a little bit more. But again, find that edge. Don't go past it. You're encouraging that right knee to kind of fall open as much as it'd like to and open up through your psoas, through that hip. And breathe again. I also want you to notice something here. I just want you to notice what you can learn from this practice of yin. We know that every time we come to our mat, we're learning something about ourselves off of the mat, yeah? Direct translation, yoga practice is just life practice. If you find yourself fidgeting a lot, generally one of two things is happening here, okay? Either you've gone past your edge and your body is resisting and telling you to back off slightly, and you should listen, or the mind is so busy that it's transferring to the limbs, the fingers, your toes, right? So just observe it if it's happening to you. And what a powerful tool to be able to witness what's going on. That's the present. Slowly when you're ready. Slowly. On your exhale, move back to your belly. Take a deep inhale in and exhale out. And then switch cheeks, do it again. Big inhale in, let it go. With your right cheek down, take your right arm out long. Plant those left fingertips up by your shoulder, bend into your left knee, and roll over your right side body, planting the left foot behind yourself. You can tent up onto those right fingertips, opening your wing. I use a lot of bird references in class, guys. Maybe you bind behind your back, maybe not. Again here, finding your breath in these moments of discomfort, sending extra space into them with some love notes, big love notes or big breaths for yourself. Making peace in your mind. I'm scooting back to my mat because I can't extend my arm. Yoga room problems. You keep breathing. And what's the ultimate goal of this practice anyway, right? The ultimate goal is love. The goal is to love you. And then we can sprinkle that out to others. What kind of love can you send yourself right now in this moment? Can you soften your face, your jaw, your third eye? Allow your teeth to unclench so that something is making effort and some things are just in ease. Little effort, little ease. And if you're feeling something good, just let yourself feel something good and sink in. If you're feeling something, let go. Practice letting go. And then breathe again. Come back to this moment. Another big exhale before we choose to roll back to our bellies here. And slowly bring yourself back. For just a moment, let's pause in Sphinx. Just a little wash out. Breath in, breath out. And then roll back down. Bring your right arm up along your head after you we'll take a breath in on each side. How about take an inhale on your left cheek? Exhale, wiggle your hips, switch sides, do it again, let it go. And taking your right arm long, can you roll over gently to your back? So make your way over your side body, and then if you have, like I have, come off of your mat, bring yourself on back. We're going to find a banana pose on both sides. So really stretch long, big, long fingertips to toe tips. Good morning stretch. And then cross your right ankle over your left. Grab your left wrist with your right wrist with your left hand and open up. So I'm going to stand up and show you guys what this looks like so that you can see it, but you're going to stay down on your mat, okay? So banana. Right over left. Grab your wrist, reach the wrists and your shoulders, wiggle them towards the top left corner of your mat, and then let the feet, you're going to do it on your back, I'm going to get back down and show you. Your feet are going to walk and wiggle themselves to the left bottom corner of your mat, so you're getting a really deep side stretch through the whole right side body. So reach long and then settle your head back down, let your shoulders release, maybe you rock your head from side to side. And breathe. Maybe another inhale lengthens out through that whole right side body. And an exhale cinches a little more into the left waist. Again, just our weight and our breathing is opening us up here. So you might find that you can stretch a little further on an inhale and then settle back into that on an exhale, finding a new edge. Wiggle yourself back through center, uncross, and the other side. So, show you one more again. Standing up, you're going to cross your left ankle over your right. Grab your right wrist with your left wrist with your right hand and pull towards the corner of your mat. So now we're coming to the right corners of our mat. Walk the feet over first. Then shimmy your shoulders. Walk your hands over, be a banana. Again, you can roll the neck out here from side to side. Just soften and breathe. Really big, long stretch through the whole left side body. Maybe the exhale soften and cinch a little bit more into the right side. Inhale to expand. Exhale to grow. Get longer. Inhale to find space. Exhale to soften into that space. If your mind starts to talk about something else, just say thank you so much for that thought that you had that was important. Let it float away. Come back to the breath. Shift your focus, and your heart will grow. go of your ankles, come back to center, bring your knees in, plant your feet, let your arms come down long beside you on the mat. And we're going to come into a figure four. So lifting the right foot, crossing your right ankle over your left knee, and then maybe lifting the left foot up and finding a pigeon on your back. So you can thread your arms through, long in the neck, right? Keeping the crown pulled towards the front edge of your mat, the short edge. And then we're going to make sure that we keep the right foot flexed and the right knee out and away from us as much as possible, since that knee is open, to keep it safe. You can even thread the arm through and then use your right elbow to encourage the right knee to stay out a little further. And then soften into that. Breathe into that. You can stay right here. This is a perfect place to be. Or you can take a half lotus, reclined half lotus yin pose. So I'll show you how to do that. So wiggle your right foot, if you'd like, into your left hip crease. And then take your left foot into that crease that's right between your glutes and your top of your hamstrings, that little pocket on your right side. And then let both knees just simply fall to the ground to a half lotus. If this is too much and you don't love it, come back to your pigeon on your back. Okay, I like to keep my left hand on that top foot, the bound foot, and my right hand long on my thigh to encourage and remind myself that I'm breathing in to that hip crease and allowing it to open and relax. But you don't have to. There are different arm options and variations, right? So maybe you stay here. Or maybe the arms can come up and over your head. Or you can take your arms down and just let them flop. Right, that's the ease in your effort. So the upper body stays very relaxed. Your breath stays as your guide. The big inhales are still making space. And your exhales release and soften your lower body. We're getting things in our bodies to wash and move so we can have new, fresh hydration. And if something's feeling stuck, here is an opportunity, permission, invitation, recommendation almost, to take a deep inhale in and open mouth exhale, let it go. When you're ready to lift, come back through your figure four. Squish both heels towards the ceiling and then switch, crossing the left ankle over the right knee. Make sure you're flexing the foot, keeping the knee out like we spoke on. And then threading your hands through for your pigeon on your back as you lift your right foot, long in the neck. A nice deep inhale and exhale for a cleanse. Palate cleanse, start the other side. Just notice what you're feeling. Now the hands can come all the way around the shin, or they can just reach around the thigh. So you choose that as well. Now you can stay right here, right? You don't have to take the half lotus. This is great. But if you'd like to, slide and wiggle that left foot into your right hip crease. Grab your right foot with your left hand to keep it in that little sweet spot. Gently guide and let the knees fall together to the floor. Any arm variation that you took on the other side. Find your happy spot. Check back in with your face, your shoulders, your jaw, your forehead, that space between your eyebrows. Where are you holding tension? What can be softer so that the breath can find the places that are feeling stuck? Soften your mind. Can you find a way to be more gentle with yourself? Inhale to receive. Exhale to give. Let it go. What happens in moments in stillness and quiet? Just observe it. Don't attach to it or judge it. Judging ourselves helps no one at all. And then gently, when you're ready to come back out of it, pull back through your figure four, pull your knees in. I'm going to find the block for a supported bridge. You can have it close if you'd like to support your bridge. Or if you don't have one, that's cool. We're going to do legs up the wall. So you have options here. Okay? Roll back down to your back. If you found your block, lift your hips, slide the block right under your sacrum. Right under the lower part of your back. Oh, it's juicy. It's good. It's good. You can stay here, or you can pull the knees up and in, giving yourself a little bit more here. You can even shoot the feet towards the ceiling, but just let it be a really easy, supported bridge, right? Or if you don't have a block, just shoot your legs up. Legs up the wall, very easy. You can even slide over. We're going to be here for a minute. Slide over to a wall, shoot your legs up the wall, right? This is your practice. This is your time. If you want a really good one, put the block back under there. Shoot your heels out to the corners of your mat and just lay like a flat pancake and let the pressure on your sacrum sink in. I'm going to choose the legs up the wall supported bridge option, but it's all good. Nice, easy inversion. We can get the benefits of the blood flushing the other way without being on our hands or our forearms or our heads. The tingling you're feeling, if you start to feel the tingling, that's all right. Even if numbness and little pins and needles happen in your yin practice, that's the give and take, the release, and the reflushing. Where can you soften? Let the shoulders come away from your ears. Relax your shoulder blades. Relax your heart. Soften the back door of your heart and melt that down a little bit more. Invite that softness to come up through your throat and jaw, sides of your head. Just experience the sensations that are happening. And then when you're ready to release, if your legs are up, bring them down slowly. Plant your heels, plant your feet. If you're on a block, lift your hips. Roll back down slowly, vertebra by vertebra. If you're on the wall, meet us back on our mats, please. Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall out wide. Take one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly here and reconnect to your own natural rhythm. Just feeling the sensations, what's going on in your hips, where can you feel your heartbeat? Maybe not just under your hands. Placing a hand on the heart like this is known to lower your blood pressure. Just a little tidbit for anxious moments. Connect to your breath. Can you feel your inner vibrations? Close your eyes down if it feels right. Coming towards the end of our practice here, just a couple more postures, including delicious Shavasana. Deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. What are you still holding on to? Breathe it in. And then let that stuff go. I'm keeping it really PG in case you're practicing with your children at home. But let it go. You know what I meant. Let it go. Head from side to side. Whatever's right. Yin is a practice that gets pretty deep into the emotions as well. So if emotions come up for you during this practice or after, let it happen. Pull the feet in, pull the knees together, let them knee knock together, right? And let the feet come out as far as the mat or wider for constructive rest. Press the lower back into the mat, let it be flat. And if you'd like, you can take the mudra of unshakable trust, which is threading the fingers together and binding them with the thumbs up and laying them on top of your heart. Just another mudra for some self-love. Give yourself that unshakable trust. Trust in you. Trust in your intuition from your inner knowing and your guides. Got a lot of external information coming in, flooding in right now, as always, but a lot right now. Whenever it feels too much and you feel leaky, cut it off, shut it down, come back inside. And from this place, releasing to your Shavasana. Let the feet fall out, let the knees be soft, back of the knees and hips. Soften the pelvis, the back door of the heart. Soften your shoulders. Release again through your throat, all the way up into your face. Your jaw, your eyebrows, the space between your eyebrows, just be. The yoga pose is not the goal. Becoming flexible or standing on your hands is not the goal. The goal is to create space where you were once stuck, to unveil layers of protection you've built up around your heart, to appreciate your body and become aware of the mind and the noise it creates, to make peace with who you are. The goal is to love, well, you. Shift your focus and your heart will grow. Rachel Bradman. Stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. Thank you so much. What an honor to guide you guys. Namaste.